Hello friends, welcome to tutorial in English literature. In today's video, I am going to discuss all the important multiple choice questions from William Shakespeare's very famous and his shortest tragedy, Macbeth. I have already discussed the plot and characters of this play. If you have not watched these videos, first make sure to watch these videos because these lessons will help you to understand the basics of this tragedy. Let's begin our discussion. The first question of our discussion is, what is the source of the play Macbeth? These are your options, and here the correct answer is Raphael Hollin's Chronicles of England, Scotland and Ireland. Shakespeare has used Hollin's Chronicle for the story of Macbeth. The next question is, when Macbeth was first performed, England was ruled by who was the king of England at that time? These are your options, and the correct answer is King James I. Though Shakespeare was famous as an Elizabethan dramatist, he wrote many plays after the death of Queen Elizabeth. Queen Elizabeth was unmarried and she died childless in 1603, bringing an end to the Tudor dynasty. The crown then passed to Elizabeth's appointed successor, James VI of Scotland, whose ascent to the English throne as James I marked the beginning of the Stuart dynasty. King James I also became the patron of Shakespeare's theatrical company, the King's Men. Legend says that Macbeth was performed at Hampton Court in 1606 for King James I and his brother-in-law King Christian of Denmark. Whether it was first performed at the Royal Court or was premiered at the Globe Theatre, there can be little doubt that Shakespeare intended to entertain the king with Macbeth, which is his only Scottish play and which included several of James I's ancestors as its characters. The House of Stuart, which was James I's family line, claimed Banquo among its ancestors. For this reason, Shakespeare changed Banquo into a tragic victim of Macbeth's treachery, and the play emphasizes Banquo's role as the father of many kings. Shakespeare took the plot of Macbeth from Hollin's Chronicle. Hollin's version includes the witches and makes Banquo a co-conspirator with Macbeth. In Hollin's account, Macbeth's wife is ambitious to become queen, but she is not an accomplice, that is, a partner in the murder. But in Shakespeare's play, Banquo cannot be the partner of the crime of regicide, and this role instead passes to Macbeth's wife. The play includes other elements arguably designed to satisfy James I. The fact that Macbeth is defeated by a unified army of English and Scottish soldiers becomes significant because James I was the king who united England and Scotland under one crown. The defeat of the usurper is important as well because James I was the target of a number of plots early in his reign, most notably the gunpowder plot of November 1605, in which a group of Catholic gentlemen attempted to blow up the king and both houses of parliaments. Finally, James I was also known for his opposition to the witchcraft and supernatural. He presided over a few witch trials, and while King of Scotland published a paper called Demonology, which claims witches are a serious threat to Scotland. Accordingly, the witches in Macbeth are presented as a malicious force bent on creating chaos in the land. The next question of our discussion is, why is Macbeth often referred to as the Scottish play? These are your options. The correct answer is here, Macbeth is often considered a cursed play. From the play's first performance in 1606, it seemed to be cursed. On opening night, the actor meant to play Lady Macbeth died. For that reason, Shakespeare had to play the role of Lady Macbeth. From there, the casualties piled up. In 1672, an actor portraying Macbeth used a real dagger to commit murder on stage. An interruption by an audience member in 1721 performance resulted in burning down a theatre. In 1775, the actor playing Lady Macbeth narrowly escaped being assaulted by the audience. A protest before the play in 1849 led to a riot that killed 23 people. The misfortune continued throughout 20th century, with reported injuries to cast members and mysterious deaths. In 1942, 3 cast members died, including one by suicide. In 1947, an actor was stabbed during play. The reputation of the play Macbeth became so dangerous that people involved in its production won't say its name aloud in a theatre. Instead, it is called the Scottish play. So, the name was given to Macbeth because of superstition. The next question is, where is King Duncan's palace located? Here the correct answer is Forres. The next question is, what is the name of Macbeth's castle? Whether it is Forres, Dunsinane, Inverness or Fife. The correct answer is option C, Inverness. The next question is, which country does invade Scotland at the beginning of the play? So Macbeth begins with a war, and the war is with Norway. Who brings the news that Macbeth has defeated King of Norway? The correct answer is Ross. Most of the important news are provided by Ross. The next question is, how does Ross describe Macbeth fighting in the battlefield? Lion among hares, eagle among sparrows. These descriptions are given by the bloody sergeant. Ross describes Macbeth as Bellona's bridegroom. Bellona is wife of Mars, the god of war. So in this way, Ross describes Macbeth as the god of war. The next question is, which rebel Scottish nobleman does betray his own country and help King of Norway? So these are your options: MacDonald, Thane of Cawdor, both of them, none of them. So the correct answer is option C, because both MacDonald and Thane of Cawdor, they betrayed King Duncan and helped King of Norway. The next question is, whom does Macbeth kill in the battlefield at the beginning? Thane of Cawdor knows. He was executed by the royal order. Sweno was also not killed, though he was defeated by Macbeth. So the correct answer is MacDonald. MacDonald was a Scottish nobleman. Next question is, during the play, how many kings ruled Scotland? This is a tricky question. So first king was Duncan, second was Macbeth, and third was Malcolm, King Duncan's eldest son. So the correct answer is 3, option B. The next question is, who is Donalbain? This is a very easy question. The correct answer is King Duncan's son. He is brother of Malcolm. Next question is, who is Macduff? He is Thane of Fife. The next question is, who is Ross? Ross is actually Thane of Ross. He is a Scottish nobleman. Next question is, at the beginning of the play, Macbeth was Thane of Glamis. He got this title because of the death of his father. The next question is, after winning the battle in Act 1 Scene 2, Macbeth was made. So Macbeth was made Thane of Cawdor. Where did Macbeth meet the 3 witches? The correct answer is on the heath near Forres. Heath means a barren land. Macbeth and Banquo were returning from the battlefield, and at this place they met the 3 witches. The next question is, how do the witches refer to themselves? The correct answer is wearied sisters. The next question is, who describes witches as the instruments of darkness? The correct answer is Banquo. The next question is, who brings the news that Macbeth has been made Thane of Cawdor? The correct answer is Ross. Next question is, how does Duncan view his role as a king? As a leader who holds on to power in order to protect his people? No, this is not correct. As a figurehead who leads by example but does not hold much power? This is also not correct. As a businessman focused on material prosperity of his people? This is also not correct. The correct answer is as a gardener focused on nurturing his people to grow. The next question is, what action of Duncan creates an obstacle to Macbeth gaining the throne? So here the correct answer is appointing Malcolm as heir to the throne. The next question is, which title does King Duncan conferred to his son Malcolm? The correct answer is the option A, the Prince of Cumberland. The Prince of Cumberland means he is heir to the throne. The next question is, why is Lady Macbeth concerned about Macbeth's ability to fulfill the prophecy? So the correct answer is option C. She thinks Macbeth is too kind and honorable. She describes Macbeth as full of human kindness. The next question is, after learning that Duncan will spend the night at Inverness, Lady Macbeth requests the spirit. Here the correct answer is option D, to rip out her femininity and make her merciless. The next question is, why does not Macbeth want to kill King Duncan? Duncan is his guest, this is correct. Duncan is his kinsman, this is also correct. Duncan is a good king, this is also correct. So the correct answer is option D, all of these. This is very clear from Macbeth's speech. So here is the speech from Act 1, Scene 7. Here Macbeth says that he is here, he is means here Duncan, he is here in double trust. First, I am his kinsman and his subject, strong both against the deed. Then, as his host, who should against his murder shut the door. So Macbeth is the host, Duncan is the guest. So Duncan must be protected by Macbeth. Not bear the knife myself. Besides, Duncan had borne his faculties so meek, has been so clear in his great office, that his virtues will plead like angels, trumpet tongued, against the deep damnation of his taking off. So these lines suggest that Duncan is a very noble and just king. So the correct answer is option D. The next question is, what tactic does Lady Macbeth use to manipulate her husband? So here the correct answer is option D. She questions his manhood and courage. Next question is, what advice does Lady Macbeth give to Macbeth regarding their plan to murder Duncan? So the first option is to strike out quickly. This is not correct. To seek help from Banquo. This is also not correct. To use his position as a general to stage a military coup. This is also not correct. So correct answer is option D. To appear innocent while hiding his true intentions. The next question is, what do Duncan and Banquo notice about Inverness Castle when they arrive? The castle is in despair. This is not correct. The castle is lively with trade and laughter. This is also not correct. The air is sweet and marlets have nestled in the castle. This is correct. So the correct answer is option C. So this is the speech of Duncan and Banquo. Duncan says that the castle had a pleasant seat. The air nimbly and sweetly recommends itself unto our gentle senses. And Banquo notices that there is temple hunting marlet in the castle. The next question is, how does Banquo's reaction to witches' prophecy differ from Macbeth's? The first option is, Banquo trusts the witches. This is not correct. Banquo talks to others while Macbeth does not. This is also not correct. Banquo wants to forget the witches' prophecy. This is also not correct. Banquo is honest while Macbeth is secretive. This is correct. Macbeth always tries to hide his real thought about the witches' prophecy from Banquo. But Banquo is very honest, very clear in his reaction. The next question is, what does Macbeth see just before the murder of Duncan? So the correct answer is a floating dagger. This scene is very famously known as dagger scene. The next question is, how does Lady Macbeth signal to Macbeth that Duncan's attendants are asleep? So the correct answer is, she rings a bell. The next question is, what reason does Lady Macbeth give for not killing Duncan herself? The first option is, she believes that as a great warrior Macbeth should do it. She believes that as a man Macbeth should do it. She believes that it is too risky for her to do it. So first the options are wrong. So the correct answer is option D. Duncan resembled Lady Macbeth's father while sleeping. The next question is, what happens that terrifies Macbeth soon after the murder of Duncan? So the correct answer is, he hears a voice whispering his name. So option D is the correct answer. The next question is, after the murder of King Duncan, Lady Macbeth puts the dagger with the Duncan's chamberlains or bodyguards. So the correct answer is option C. The next question is, what role does the potter play as he opens the castle gate of Inverness? The first option is, he reveals the truth about the murder. This is wrong. He adds tension and suspense to the play. This is also not correct. He provides moment of ironic comedy. He accuses Macbeth and Lady Macbeth. So the correct answer is he provides moment of ironic. So this is a kind of comic relief. The next question is, when Duncan was murdered, the night was. So the night was stormy and fearful. So this is clear from the speech of Lennox. He says that the night has been unruly, where we lay our chimneys were blown down, and they say, lamenting heard in the air, strange screams of death, and prophesying with accents terrible of dire combustion and confused events now hatched to the woeful time. This is also clear from the conversation of the old man with Ross. The old man says that he had never seen such dreadful things and strange things. Ross also says that this is a very threatening and bloody night. The next question is, who discovers Duncan's murder first? So the correct answer is Macduff. Here you can read Macduff's speech when he discovers Duncan's murder. Oh horror, 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 tongue nor heart cannot conceive nor name thee. Confusion hath made his masterpiece. Most sacrilegious murder hath broke open the Lord's anointed temple and stole thence the life of the building. This is a very important speech. The next question is, who were framed? That means who were made responsible for murder of King Duncan by Lady Macbeth. So they are Duncan's chamberlains or bodyguards. The next question is, why does Macbeth kill the attendants of King Duncan? So Macbeth killed the attendants to keep them quiet. They are very important source of proof of the murder of Duncan. So first Macbeth killed them. The next question is, why do Malcolm and Dunablen decide to flee after the murder of King Duncan? The correct answer is, they fear they will be the next targets of whoever killed Duncan. Option B is the correct answer. Next question is, where does Malcolm go after the assassination of King Duncan? So the correct answer is England. Malcolm goes to England. Next question is, who was King of England when Malcolm took refuge in England? The correct answer is King Edward. He was also known as King Edward the Confessor. He ruled from 1042 until his death in 1066. After his death, Norman conquest took place in England. King Edward was unworldly and his subjects often regarded him as a saint, and so he is known as King Edward the Confessor. The next question is, where does Dunalben go after the assassination of King Duncan? The correct answer is Ireland. The next question is, why does Macduff does not attend Macbeth's coronation? So the correct answer is, Macduff is suspicious of Macbeth. Macduff has started to believe that Macbeth murdered King Duncan. The next question is, who killed Banquo? The correct answer is hired murderers. The next question is, why do the murderers agree to kill Banquo and Fleance? So these are your options, and here the correct answer is because Macbeth questions their manhood. He also used the tactic of Lady Macbeth. The next question is, what does Macbeth mean when he says, we have scorched the snake, not killed? So here the correct answer is, their enemies are still alive. The next question is, how does Lady Macbeth advise Macbeth to act during the feast? Feast means here the banquet. The correct answer is option C, bright and jovial. How does Lady Macbeth explain Macbeth's strange behavior to the Danes during the feast? So the correct answer is option B. She says he has had fits since childhood. The next question is, who remains absent in Macbeth's banquet? So here the correct answer is Macduff. Why does Macbeth visit the witches again after the feast? So these are your options. Here the correct answer is he is desperate to keep power. From that point, we find that Macbeth has become a tyrant. He has a network of spies and he hired murderers to kill each of the people he thinks may be his enemy. Who is Hecate? Hecate is goddess of witchcraft. The next question is, what does Hecate plan to do when Macbeth comes to see the witches? Here the correct answer is option B. Show him the visions that will give him false confidence. So the Hecate wants to give Macbeth false hope. This is clear from his speech. Hecate says that she will show him illusion that will draw him onto his confusion. He shall spurn fate, scorn death, and bear he hopes above wisdom, grace, and fear. And you all know security is mortal's chiefest end. The next question is, what is the first apparition conjured by the witches? The correct answer is an armed head, option B. So this is the first apparition. The next question is, who tells Macbeth to beware of Macduff? So this is told by the first apparition. That means a floating head or an armed head. The next question is, what does the second apparition represent? The second apparition is a bloody child. So he represents Macduff's Caesarean birth. The next question is, what does the third apparition, child wearing a crown and holding a tree, represent? So the third apparition represents option A. Macbeth won't be defeated until Great Birnam Wood marches to Dunsinane Hill. The next question is, what does the apparition of 8 kings predict? So they predict that Banquo's heirs will have the throne of Scotland. Option C is the correct answer. The next question is, who follows the apparition of 8 kings? So this is a direct question. The correct answer is Ghost of Banquo. What does the king holding the mirror in the witches' final conjuring represent? So it represents option C, King James of England. So in the mirror there are many kings and it suggests that there will be many kings after King James from his family line. That is the Stuart. The next question is, why does Macduff visit King Edward in England? The correct answer is to persuade Malcolm to return to Scotland to overthrow Macbeth. The next question is, why does Malcolm initially claim that he might be worse ruler than Macbeth? So these are your options and the correct answer is to test Macduff's loyalty to Scotland. At the beginning, Malcolm cannot trust Macduff. He thinks that Macduff can be a spy of Macbeth. The next question is, what special ability is attributed to King of England? So these are your options. The correct answer is his ability to cure disease. The next question is, who tells Macduff that his family has been killed? This news is also given by Ross. The next question is, what does Lady Macbeth's sleepwalking recall from murder of Duncan? The first option is the knocking at the door that woke everyone. The second option is the terrible storm that kept everyone awoke. The third option is Macbeth hearing a voice that said he had murdered sleep. Last option is the dagger that is placed on the chamberlains of Duncan. So the correct answer is option A, the knocking at the door. The next question is, how does Lady Macbeth die? So the correct answer is offstage, as it generally happens in a classical tragedy. Duncan is murdered offstage. Lady Macbeth also died offstage. Their deaths are only reported. The next question is, how does Macbeth react to the news of Lady Macbeth's death? So these are your options and the correct answer is option D, with a speech on the meaningless of life. So this is the famous speech from the Act 5 Scene 5 of Macbeth. Macbeth says these lines when he hears the news of Lady Macbeth's death. The next question is, which country did invade Scotland at the end of the play? So the correct answer is England. The next question is, who kills Macbeth? So Macduff kills Macbeth. Next question is, who becomes king at the end of the play? The correct answer is option B, Malcolm. The next question is, at the end of the play, where does Malcolm go for coronation? The correct answer is Scone. Macbeth also went to Scone for his coronation. So this is a quotation. This supernatural soliciting cannot be ill, cannot be good. You have to identify the speaker. So these are your options. So the correct answer is Macbeth. The next question is, who is the speaker? There is no art to find mind's construction in the face. So the correct answer is King Duncan. Looks like the innocent flower, but be the serpent under it. You have to identify the speaker. The correct answer is Lady Macbeth. Star, hide your fires. Let not light see my black and deep desires. The speaker is here Macbeth. Confusion now hath made his masterpiece. This is said by Macduff after discovering the murder of King Duncan. Macbeth does murder sleep, the innocent sleep. This is a tricky question. This is actually said by Macbeth after the murder of King Duncan. The next question is, not had, all is spent, where our desire is got without content. So this is a very tragic statement given by Lady Macbeth before the banquet scene. So this is the full speech. Not sad, all is spent, where our desire is got without content. It is safer to be that which we destroy than by destruction dwell in doubtful joy. That means she begins to realize that she has begun to realize that she is in worse condition than King Duncan, whom they have murdered. The next question is, Duncan is in his grave. After life's fitful fever, he sleeps well. So these beautiful lines are spoken by Macbeth. These lines also highlight Macbeth's remorse. Macbeth says these lines before the banquet scene. So that's all for today. Thank you for watching.